You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello and welcome to Orange County's longest running business talk show. I am your host, Rick Franzi, and we're going to have a great conversation with Cathy Trinh. She is the founder of Recruiter Hustle. Cathy, welcome to the radio show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Let's start by talking about your current business, Recruiter Hustle. As an entrepreneur, what was your motivation to start that firm?
My motivation, well, thank you. First of all, I just want to acknowledge you. I think I'm so excited about this conversation to share a little bit about myself and our company. But my original motivation has always been inspired because I've been in the business for so long. I started in talent acquisition and recruitment for 23 years now. And I started in recruitment when I was 19 years old. So right around 2013, when I decided I wanted to go on my own. So I became an independent recruiter, and I started my own search firm. And I had a lot of different clients. So back in right when COVID hit, I felt like we needed a little bit of a energy shift. So I decided to just rebrand myself and rebrand our company to Recruiter Hustle Incorporated. And it's been extraordinary ever since.
So let's talk about the name, because I'm curious. What's the origin of the name Recruiter Hustle Incorporated?
Well, I was going to go off on a tangent with, something more professional and classic, right? Such as Cathy Trinh Consulting Group or whatnot. And I thought that was just, it would have made me fall a little flat still. So I decided, I sat back and I said, what are my core values? And what do I do in the world? And what's easy for people to remember us by? So the core values that I live by is three things: heart, hustle, and just being human. And obviously in talent acquisition, we are a business that matches candidates up, and it's a very human business. So Recruiter Hustle, and it's been, it seems a little edgy and, and when people get on the phone with us, they're like, wow, you know a lot. There's just a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom there. And so that's how I created the company name, and just we rebranded. And like I said, it's been extraordinary ever since.
So technically, Recruiter Hustle has been around kind of since the COVID times, a year and a half, 2 years. I'm wondering, but you've been in the industry for quite some time by your own admission. What have you learned as you're now leading Recruiter Hustle, and any pivots that you've had since you kind of launched the firm as Recruiter Hustle?
Absolutely. So the way that I've been characterizing my career, my personal career, because it's a personal journey, as in every career. And I feel that it's a developmental course, if you will, in life, right? But a lot of things that I've learned ever since day one, when I first started when I was 19 years old, I learned from my very first branch manager, Martha White with Comforce Technical Services. She said, the only way that you could be very successful in this business is if you stay consistent. So consistency has been key for me. And it's just been, it's embedded in my DNA on who I am. And it's been, and I would call it an unfolding every single day. One of my other, managers way back in the day, she said, every year in recruitment is like 7 dog years. So we learn so much. We learn so much about ourselves. We learn so much about other people. And of course, we have good days and bad days. But definitely the key is consistency, but never giving up. And I can't wait to, continue this conversation, because there's so much growth and development that we as recruiters need to have on our own, so that we can wake up and support those who are sometimes, when they wake up in a negative space as well. For example, like job seekers, we don't call them and they're not sitting there waiting for our phone call and with a really positive vibe. Sometimes their bosses just gave them the pink slip, or has knocked on their door for deadlines day after day. So we have to stay on top of it. And the only way that we can stay on top of it is to continue to have practice in growth and personal growth and development for ourselves. So that's the to answer that first question. Now, the second question, absolutely, in terms of pivoting, I'll give you just a small example. There is a client that took the opportunity to invest in real estate during this time, because the real estate opportunities were there for him. He had just sold a $700 million business, and he had extra cash, and he wanted to get into the luxury hotel space. So he went out and purchased a 5-star luxury hotel up in Napa. And the pivot for myself was to take on searches that we've never taken on before. For example, our bread and butter is accounting and finance, tax, treasury, and audit. But because we've developed this relationship for so long, they asked us to pretty much staff all the key roles within the organization, from the director of housekeeping, the director of engineering. And they looked as, we partnered with them as search partners, as if we are their own talent acquisition team. So that's the pivot that we've made. We've expanded from our original disciplines, and what we're causing and what we're creating is just a larger network for ourselves. So we're popping up with a lot of different conversations on a daily basis that comes out from nowhere, which is so exciting.
It's great when customers lead you to grow your firm, because they enjoyed working with you so much. They give you a new challenge and you accept it as an entrepreneur. I can sense your energy and focus and positivity. It's coming through on the show in the screen here. I'm wondering, what have you observed? Because you're kind of right in when you talk about recruiting into the hospitality space, COVID has really impacted that industry in a significant way. But across all disciplines, it seems like to me, your job has changed because of the balance between the employees and the employers, as far as, job searches and available candidates. So what are you finding, just not even in the hospitality, but in general, is the dynamic between hiring companies and the potential candidates that might be available for them at this point?
Well, depending on what day you ask me, I'm really excited about my job and the work that I do.
Yeah. Is this one of those days?
Well, today it is actually.
Good.
I'm actually being empowered by this conversation, because it gets me excited again, right? For example, this morning I woke up and I was like, okay, I've got to be on the show. But we also, in the back of my mind, we have 45 openings that we need to put our hands on and start recruiting, and we have different recruiting techniques and styles, and I can go later on. I can share a little bit more about our company as a whole and why we're so unique and we're great at what we do. But again, today is actually a really good day. You have literally empowered me to go back in and know why I stay in the business for so long is because I get to help support companies that need our help. For the most part, we are contingency recruiters. And I don't typically, occasionally I'll take on a retained search, but that puts us on the hook to kind of put everything else on pause, focus on this one client. But then how about of all of our preferred vendors who have, worked with us for years and years and have been a repeat business and a very loyal client that gives us all business all the time. So when you take on a retained search, you're really putting yourself on the hook because you're kind of putting everything else on pause. But being a contingency recruiter, yes, there is a shift on a pretty regular basis on the need. And we as recruiters really have to focus on time management, because I can see myself, I'm actually a very hands-on managing partner for the company. So, we do three-way phone calls when we need to. If someone needs some information and I know the information, it's in my head and I can't find the documentation quick, I say, look, let's just get on a three-way phone call real quick and then close the candidate, because the market we move very fast. And it's, just now thinking about it, the reason why we move fast sometimes, because I remember that our business is called Recruiter Hustle, and we do have to live to our reputation. We hustle, we really do. Speed to market is very, very important. The market's extremely competitive at this time, and especially, there's a lot of candidates that are okay in their job, and so it takes a very skillful individual, not only putting a recruiter hat on, but a very skillful human being to tactfully pitch or do a story sharing about a position to get them to transfer one job to another job. And so that's why our business is so unique. I have a former news anchor that is on my team. I have a former journalist as well. He's also a professor for a college and a university. I have several sales professionals who have sold everything from mattresses to manufacturing parts and products and whatnot. And you've heard this before, Rick. We don't grow up. There's no college degree for recruitment. Mm-hmm. You just happen to fumble across it, and if you love it, you stay in it. And if you're successful, you go for years and years and years.
It seems to me your business is unique because you actually have two clients. You have the hiring company who has the opening, and then you have the candidate, as you just said, who you have to work with to tell the story of how that new position is better, different than maybe what they're currently working on. It's a unique paradigm for the recruiting industry, and I think one that probably takes some special skills. What else about your firm would you like to share with us that makes you different, unique, or special, that lives your values, but also kind of supports the brand that you're establishing in the marketplace?
Oh, thank you. So we have search partners, and we're currently on the West Coast, but we're slowly migrating over to the East Coast as well. There are, say, friends or professionals that want to get into the business, and we establish independent consulting agreements with them. And so it's a very unique networking platform, if you will. Our commission splits are probably one of the best in the industry, and it's for working moms. It could be small company business owners that have a mindset that has the network. That's what they do. They show up to networking events, and they have people asking them about jobs all the time. So they treat a lot of our recruiters. They treat our clients as if it's their own business. They have a very entrepreneurial mindset, such as myself. I have a very entrepreneurial mindset. We also are very unique because going back to the storytelling part of it, I am a transformational storyteller. I would get on the phone with you and share a little bit about my background with you, and then there's a relatability and an instant trust. Wow, Cathy's been through cancer. she understands what my husband's going through right now. So she'll be a little bit more sensitive to my situation. I'm not a robot. And then, you know, I just launched my podcast. It's called Stay Unmuted with Cathy Trinh. And it's come on to my show. Let's unmute our mic and stay unmuted afterwards. Because, you know, during COVID, everybody was asked to on Zoom, please mute your mic. Someone's got their mic unmuted.
Right, you're right.
So I just launched my podcast, and then I'm a 2-time author. I'm a best-selling author. I also am a global speaker. So I just spoke with USC's entrepreneurship division, and I'm a distinguished speaker with them. So
Nice.
it gives us a little bit of an edge, a unique background where it's a little bit more engaging than just the recruiter story, right?
Sure.
And
Yes.
it's really developing our own stories. And I believe the reason why I'm so passionate about this was because years and years and years, I have told other people's stories. And that when people ask me, how are you doing? I had deer in headlights because I didn't even know what was going on in my life because I was so busy grinding. I was so busy taking care of my own home. My personal life was almost in shambles. And I said, you know what? I need to start telling my story. And so that's why I got really inspired to write my books.
Is that, I'd assume as you're discussing, I know you've written 2 books. The first one is The Journey. Is that what you're talking about relative to your first book?
Yes.
So what's the big idea in The Journey?
So the big idea is, I would say slowing down, because the subtitle is Mastering the Art of Slowing Down.
Wow.
When people, it's almost comical because when people get on the phone with me, they said they're expecting someone to be really quiet, you know, and demure and, you know, because I'm Asian on top of that, right? So when they get on the phone with me, they're like, Cathy, you're nothing. You're not what I expected. I've been in telemarketing and telesales, on telephone sales since I was 15 years old. So I've been on the phones. I've been dialing for dollars since I was 15. So it's been 25 years now. And yes, it was 15 years in the making. And the theme came from slowing down. And in 2018, I made a decision that I needed to get my story on the market, especially when that time period, it was a dark time because I was going through cancer treatments and I was sitting in a little room out in the Inland Empire. And I brought all of my journals with me. And I said, I think it's about time. My life can't get it any slower than this, you know, being locked up in isolation for almost 25 days.
So it's impressive to write your first book and then to have the energy and focus to be able to develop a second book. And I understand the title of that one is Asian Women Who Boss Up. Curious about the title, and what is your contribution to Asian Women Who Boss Up?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm so excited because I just got off our book tour. So after publishing The Journey, there was a well-known Asian podcaster. She's had over 1 million downloads on Spotify and iTunes, and she reached out to me. It was called The Tao of Confidence. Her name is Sheena Yap Chan. She reached out to me and I said, oh, what is this all about? And so we got on a phone call and I looked her up and I was like, wow, this woman has actually interviewed hundreds and hundreds of amazing Asian women. And then she gave me a pitch and she said, well, she said that we're actually co-authoring a book series and it's been very successful. And we have actually gained a lot of traction with it. And we would like to put together a book for Asian women. And at that point, it was only 4 months after I published The Journey. And I was like, oh, so stressed out. I said, oh, I don't want to do this. This is
right.
cost me too much money again, and I'm only making $2 on my Amazon sales, right? So what was the purpose of getting on this book? But I really liked the name of the book, and it was Asian Women Who Boss Up. So it's us going out in the world and we're bossing up. And I said, okay, I think I believe I'm a boss. So let's go ahead and sign me up, because I initially was going to wait about 10 years to build my empire, have millions of dollars in the bank, have all these toys, and then be able to proudly put my achievements in another book. And I said, you know what? I'm all about saying yes to things. It's like that movie with, I think, Jim Carrey, where
yes,
he goes,
yes,
for everything.
Love that.
So I said yes to this opportunity, and I started. What I did was I said, okay, in order for me to go out and share my story on why I'm a boss, I started writing down timelines of my achievements and my accomplishments. And I was looking at this list. I was like, I'm actually an award-winning global speaker, global humanitarian. I love helping kids and homeless people. I actually am a boss. So I've really taken on the word boss. And I know a lot of women have kind of used that word loosely, but I really am. I know how to boss up, and I do it on a regular basis. It's really an abundance mindset. That's my trick.
So you mentioned, and I know you're very active supporting various causes here in our home, Orange County. I guess, what is driving your commitment to give back your time, talents, and treasures for these worthy causes, Cathy?
Oh, Rick, love that question. It always gets me so emotional, and I'm going to try not to get super emotional about this, but I wake up so grateful every day. I'm probably one of the most grateful recruiter that you can talk to. I am so grateful because I am a immigrant refugee from Vietnam. Just a fun fact about my life, and it's like another little checklist, but our boat was lost at sea when I was 1.5 years old for 7 days. We were stranded in the middle of the ocean after escaping Vietnam. And so just knowing that part of my history says that our lives, all of our lives, have been riddled with many traumas in our life. And if we can get out of that, we can get out of anything. So I really great up. And that's why I do what I do in life. And I love helping children. I rarely talk about the H word, the hate word, because hate breeds more hate. And war creates more war. So I think the most fundamental discoveries that I have is just because I do have I'm a single mom as well. So I have a 13-year-old son, is to raise him right and give them as many hugs as you can, because you can instantly, you can wake up in the morning and all of them are gone. So I do. I've had health scares, and I've had women's health issues. I'm a huge advocate for mental health and the recovery community as well, because I've recovered from a hopeless state of mind. So I know I can pass that along to other people, and that's why it gets me so excited to just being with you right now. So thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome, and thank you for all the good work that you're doing in our community for those in need. It really is making a difference. And I wonder, if we turn our attention back to your firm, what's the future hold, Cathy? You're going to be back on the program at some point in the future. What's going to be different? Where are you taking your firm?
Oh, wow. Well, I love empowering people, and I get people knocking on our doors all the time. So the goal is to continue to create this network platform nationwide, and essentially at some point globally as well, and to bring the brand name worldwide, so that we can just remember that we're always recruiting. And in sales, you're always recruiting. There's always that mindset of recruiting. So recruiter hustle. And if you got the hustle in you, like definitely want to talk to you for sure. But just creating new possibilities for everybody every single day. And what I love to say always is just reinventing a future that the possibility of it not even existing for other people. So I can't wait to meet people that I haven't, been with yet.
So how does someone connect with you on LinkedIn or learn more about Recruiter Hustle Incorporated?
You definitely can find me on LinkedIn at Cathy Trinh, my first name, and there's a contact number there. You can always text us as well, and I will be very responsive. My email address, I'm on all social media platforms, minus Twitter. Twitter is a little bit hairy. It's just too much, but you can find me on Facebook. There's a business page there for our business, as well as Instagram. And I'm just really happy to connect with everyone that I haven't met yet.
Well, I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for giving of your time and your energy to our show. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to continuing to watch your success.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank our audience. You've been a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Cathy's episode was episode number 1362 on our catalog. If you're a peer Orange County entrepreneur and you would like to tell your story like Cathy just did, then connect with me on LinkedIn or reach out to me on my website. It's rickfranzi.com. And until the next time we have a chance to be together, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.